Hey Heather, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah,
Fair warning, y'all. I thought it'd be a good idea to kick my family out of the house so they didn't make noise. And what I didn't think about is the 5 million animals in the house now only have me to pay attention to. So you
yeah,
know, like randomly or see me going like this, trying to get rid of like cats and dogs.
that is a-okay. I'm hoping that Murphy isn't too barky, but you might hear some stuff. So, all right, it looks like we are live on YouTube. Okay, well, we're live on YouTube, so I'm gonna be conscious of the language that I am using.
It's official, we're live. And also we're live, we've been recording and restream for a little bit, but it is what it is.
Restream records, and then I went ahead and paused the Zoom recording that like auto started before Restream.
Fine. I mean,
I can hit play. It's just
you don't need both of them. That's fine.
to record the recording.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So it looks like we're live. It looks like we're live on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yep. We are live on Facebook. All right. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started then, Brad, if you want to, keep an eye on chat or comments or whatever.
FYI, it is set on. You may want to change our view to speaker or gallery at some point. Just FYI.
Yeah.
For some reason, it seems like our stream is on individual, but it's fine at the moment. I'm just letting you know if you want to toggle back and forth, you can.
I got it on gallery. Nope, that's okay.
Perfect.
And it's a minute shy. So I'm gonna wait for the little clock on my computer, and then I will start. Maybe that's excessive. Okay, well, it's 6 o'clock. Howdy, everyone. Thank you to the individuals representing various LGBTQ organizations and allies within the kind of Texas Aggie Bryan College Station community. Thank you guys for joining us. We're gonna have a little bit of fun and talk for a short amount of time to whoever is watching about the new year and new possibilities in 2021. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Katie Higgins. I'm a class of 2016. I am the director of programming for Aggie Pride, Texas A&M's 12th constituent network of the Association of Former Students. It is lovely to meet you all virtually. Katie Stewart is also here with us. Katie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Katie Stewart. I use feminine pronouns, she, her, hers. I'm the executive director of Pride Community Center in the Brazos Valley, and I'm happy to be here. Glad to provide resources for our area and empower our LGBT community.
Yeah. And then just backing up, I totally skipped over pronouns. I'm so like used to it that I went right out my ear. I use honestly perceived, but they, them when you're in a pinch. So if you are in doubt, you can go with neutral, they, them pronouns. Brad, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Brad Dressler. I'm class of 96, he, him pronouns. I'm the current board president for the Aggie Pride LGBTQ Network. And yeah, we're excited. We're here to, we sort of look at Aggie Pride as a little bit of a connective thread of sorts among the different various LGBTQ Aggie groups, or we try to serve that purpose, I should say. Hopefully we do a decent job at that. And so, we're just excited here to talk about what everybody has going on today, not just what Aggie Pride has, but to learn what the other groups that serve the various communities and sub-communities within the LGBTQ Aggie community have going on coming up. So I'm happy to be here.
Yes, we have one last person from Aggie Pride here tonight, James. I'm gonna go ahead and let him just introduce himself very briefly, and then we'll move on to Heather and David.
Howdy, everyone. James Castor. I'm class of 85, he, him. I'm out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm part of the Aggie Pride team, director of the fundraising committee.
All right, Heather, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Wheeler. I'm class of 2003 and use she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Gender and Sexual Diversity for the Offices of the Dean of Student Life at Texas A&M University, which is just a fancy way of saying I run the Pride Center at A&M. And I'm really excited to be here tonight. And thank you, Aggie Pride, for the invitation.
Awesome. David, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, my name is David Yahweh Gonzalez. My pronouns are he, him. I'm the marketing director for the LGBTQ Professional Network here at Texas A&M. Thank you so much for having us.
We are glad that you were able to join. So now that we kind of know who everyone is and where they are from, does anyone in particular want to talk first about some of the programming that they've got upcoming this next couple months in 2021, or do you just kind of want to round robin it through the gallery, through the Zoom gallery view?
Virtual wrestle. Who's up? Anybody? No. Okay.
Pass.
Simple.
Pass.
No. Heather, why don't you tell us what's going on with the center? What's coming up? I know there's some big events coming up soon. Right? There's the getting ready for coming out monologues. That's one of the things.
Yeah. So looking at kind of the semester we have going, one of the first couple of things we'll be doing is continuing our Pride Live series, which we started last April-ish due to COVID when we couldn't interact with our students as much. And it's an online series where we talk about different topics that are relevant to the LGBTQ plus community. On February 9th, we're going to be talking about hooking up. So what are some of the myths associated with hooking up, alcohol, and consent? On March 9th, I'm really excited about the March 9th program. For Women's History Month, we're going to be taking an intersectional look at Women's History Month, and we are going to have former Mayor Anise Parker, who was the first out mayor of a major city in the US, and I think the second woman as mayor of a large city in the US, so we're very excited. She's actually spoken for us a couple of times, and we just keep asking her back, and we're just waiting for her to tell us no at some point. But until then, we're just going to keep asking her back. So we're really excited about that. And then, as Brad alluded to, we're going to be celebrating LGBTQ plus Awareness Week, March 28th through April 3rd. And if you're not familiar with that event, it's when we have an opportunity to invite organizations both on and off campus in our community, and especially Aggie Pride, to put on programs that really celebrate the LGBTQ plus community, that talk about our history, things like that. And what the Pride Center will do is we will put together kind of a calendar of events and publicize it on the campus community and on our social media so that folks know kind of what's going on. As Brad alluded to, one thing I'm really excited about at the end of that week on April 2nd in the evening, we're going to be hosting the Coming Out monologues, which I think we're on year 12 or 13. And last year, because of COVID, we had to do it entirely virtually. But this year, fingers crossed, we're going to do a hybrid program where we're going to host it in Rudder Theater and have our performers in there. And we're going to do a limited audience at social distance. But we'll also broadcast on our Facebook and have a webinar going. So folks who can't make it into town can still see the performance. And we're very excited about that. And then because we love to cram really big programs close together so that we make ourselves crazy, the following Friday, we're going to host the Lavender Graduation Celebration, which is an excellent time for new graduates to get to learn about the Aggie Pride Network. And what we do is we honor all of our graduates for the current calendar year. So whether they're graduating in spring, summer, or in December, everyone comes, they get a custom stole that they can wear at their graduation, official A&M graduation ceremony in May or whenever they're graduating. And this year, we're really excited because our keynote speaker this year is former Ambassador James Walter Brewster, who made history because he was the first openly gay US ambassador in the Western Hemisphere. So we're really excited about that speaker. And we'll also have the Association of Former Students to welcome our new graduates into that part of the Aggie family, and addresses from the Aggie Pride Network. And that's our semester. I know I speak really fast. I am not from the South, y'all.
That is okay. You don't have to be.
Yeah, I'm not. I try, but I can't.
You're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyways, and I think that's a song.
It is. But I know I talk about a lot of stuff. You can follow us on our social media at TAMU LGBTQ. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. Or you can look at our website, which is lgbtq.tamu.edu, and you can sign up for our monthly newsletter where we'll tell you all about what's happening over the course of the semester.
Yes, and as a forgetful person, I highly recommend a monthly reminder of all of the big gay programs that are going on at Texas A&M University. Just to quickly segue off of Heather's bit, because it ties up nicely, and then I will let Katie and David talk about what PCC and the GLBTPN are doing respectively. You mentioned that y'all are having a little weekend with Lavender graduation. That is when we are having our rescheduled tailgate. Now, normally we do like a tailgate kind of in football times, and then we were going to do it virtual this year, and the game got canceled because of COVID. And so we just kind of looked at the calendar and thought, when can we best reschedule? So we're having kind of a 3-day virtual reunion weekend. And the Friday that Lavender graduation is happening, we're actually having a little virtual happy hour, and we're hoping to have like a little Zoom breakout room so that if you are an alumni and you want to watch some of the kiddos graduating, you can see that, and you can see that address by the ambassador. Additionally, we'll be having a whole kind of Saturday of events thing, and we're hoping to fingers crossed have a little drag brunch for y'all on Sunday, virtual of course, so that you can watch someone in high heels or do the J-Lo mashup from the inauguration while they poach an egg. But we wanted to go ahead and plug that. So put that kind of roughly on your calendars and be on the lookout for other information about that. And now I would like to pass the virtual mic off to Katie so you can talk about anything that Pride CC has coming up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be honest with you. COVID has hit us all pretty hard, and I think everyone is getting a bit zoomed out with all the programs and stuff. And I know with Pride Community Center, we're kind of struggling because we need that in-person contact with community that we're not getting at this time. We have still been operating our monthly support groups via Zoom every month. So we have a gender affirming support group that meets the second Monday of every month by Zoom, and a sexuality affirming support group that meets the third Sunday of every month. And we've also had our board meetings, which anyone is allowed to attend on Zoom as well. Before this all started, we were looking forward to having a 5K run with drag queens, drag kings, drag performers, people from the roller derby people, all kinds of people were going to be part of it. And then COVID happened and just killed the rock star. So we are still looking forward to having something, but we are highly dependent on right now how this virus plays out and when it is safe to get together and what modalities we will have to put in place in order to serve everyone in a safe manner. So, like I said, things are happening virtually. Besides our regular offerings, we did get an invite this week and are participating in Sexual Responsibility Week next week. So you can check us out there. And as always, please follow us on Facebook. That is the best place to find out about our events. And we also like sharing events from our friends in the community, whether it's the Texas A&M LGBT Pride Center or it's Aggie Pride or a professional network. It's always there. So check us out. Thanks.
Thank you very much for speaking to some of the programs that Pride Community Center has, or unfortunately because of COVID has not, or has kind of pending. But I know that I am super duper looking forward to driving all the way down to College Station and coming to one of y'all's in-person events when those can finally happen again. David from the Professional Network, would you like to go ahead and talk about what you guys have got on the horizon, looking out from January 2021 onward?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think I'm with Katie and with everyone. This pandemic has hit us hard. And one of the things that we did bi-monthly was our happy hour, where grad students and professionals and some undergrads came together, and we just created a community through those happy hours. And since March, we haven't been able, and I think that we're all a little bit angsty to just go out and get together. We're still hosting our quarantine socials. They're the second Wednesday of every month at 5 p.m., I believe. And we're hosting this with the Pride Community Center. They're the ones that they host the fourth Thursday of every month, usually. So we will continue to carry on that tradition as long as we can, and hopefully we can go out soon and meet in person. We're hosting as well a bunch of colloquiums and discussions with the film studies program. The first one of which is February 23rd at 5:30. We're meeting with the local director, Yen Tan, who's an Austin director, Asian American. He came a couple years ago and presented his movie in 1985, which we know that 1985, the movie was great, not as great as 1984, which is the year I was born. But you know, he managed. All kidding aside, it's a great movie, and we're really looking forward to having a colloquium with him. I believe that the movie, it's available on all streaming media, Amazon for sure. So it will be interesting to have his input, and I'm sure that it was going to be a great colloquium. And I believe that we're going to be hosting a bunch of them as this spring semester comes through. So just keep updated with the Facebook page, and we will announce everything over there. So, and if not, we'll see you for sure on our quarantine social. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing what you guys have got on. As far as future programming, Aggie Pride is actually in a little bit of a sort of similar to Katie and David, but a little bit different in that we are currently trying to kind of solicit ideas for virtual programming. So like if you are someone who has a skill or like a class, let's say, that you want to teach either for free or, you know, if you want to be compensated, we're open on a case-by-case basis to like talking about, you know, we want to be fair to people, right? So, you know, if you want to like teach a painting class or something, we have a form on our Facebook page that you can fill out. Also, if you have ideas for programs, but you don't necessarily want to host them, please go ahead and fill out the form anyways, because we can still use the ideas. An idea is an idea is an idea. And if it's good enough, we will find someone to make it happen. Brad and James, am I missing anything?
I think you covered a lot of the basics. Sorry, I was just actually looking. I'm distracted because we are streaming to our YouTube channel for the first time, and so I was making sure that link was posted over to our Twitter and to our Instagram, which is in our Instagram bio. By the way, if anybody is on our Instagram, you can go to our bio. I'm just going to give a shout out since I'm talking about that, to subscribe, please, to our YouTube channel, because until we get to 100 subscribers, we can actually create a custom domain or URL. So it's like a series of numbers and letters when we want to share and invite people. So that makes it difficult for us. So I know there's more than 100 queer Aggies and allies out there, and potentially by the end of this video, maybe even watching. So just, you know, go on over to YouTube and search us or visit one of the links, which we will drop into our comments below here in just a few minutes. I'll make sure it gets dropped into Instagram, LinkedIn, and I'll reply on Twitter and the Facebook page as well. So please follow us on our YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're, like Katie says, we're in a little bit of a different situation because we're not as limited by geography. So we actually saw quite a boom in a way in 2020 as far as our events go, because we had not really done virtual events. I mean, a lot of us obviously had not done virtual events as organizations, or it was sort of an add-on, right? And now it's kind of become a little bit of our focus now for Aggie Pride, because we're realizing, hey, yes, we do have a lot of queer Aggies and allies and whatnot in Bryan College Station and in Houston and whatnot, where we spent a lot of our time and energy in the past. But there are thousands, literally many thousands of LGBTQ plus Aggies and allies, even more than also allies when you add that on, all over the world, right? So we're trying to serve all of them, not just the Bryan College Station and Houston, but we also want to partner with our community organizations in Bryan College Station and Houston as well. So yeah, we do have the reunion coming up on the 9th through the 11th of April. I do think that's going to be awesome. And there's also one other big event. I don't think you talked about this. Did you talk about the Start Out and Alumni event with Yale and Stanford? You did not, right?
No, would you like to take that on for me?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Okay, awesome. So I'm on another board that's an organization called Start Out, which may be of some interest to some of you out there as well. It is, there's a bunch of chapters. They're sort of in a similar situation to Aggie Pride, where now they're more global and not just chapter oriented. But I'm on their board, their people and culture team. And one of the events that's coming up that they asked to partner with Aggie Pride, they approached us and they approached the Alumni Association for Stanford, the LGBTQ Stanford Alumni Association, and the LGBTQ Yale Association, Queer Alumni Association. And we're going to be doing on February, oh my gosh, I just blanked. Is it the 13th or the 17th? I'm totally spacing, Katie. I seriously don't remember. I'm going to have to double check now.
17th.
The 17th. Okay.
I don't believe that. I wouldn't believe me.
That's fine. I'm going to check it right now. It's fine. No big deal. But coming up mid-February, they're going to be doing a networking, sort of online, professional, social networking kind of a situation where you can come and network with queer Aggies and allies, but also with alumni from Stanford and Yale, and also with members from Start Out, which is all over the place. So it's going to be kind of a cool opportunity. We're partnering with a company that is actually founded by a queer person of color. His name is Ben Stokes. He's a friend of mine. He's also on the Start Out board, but he went through their incubator program. So like if you're usually in the tech world, but not necessarily. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to start a business, but you need some sort of additional help, resources, training, support, funding, et cetera, you can go through an incubator program. And so his company, which is called Social Table, they started before the pandemic, and they had to completely sort of reinvent themselves during the pandemic. Before the pandemic, what their company did was, and will continue to do in the future, Social Table, is they had in-person gatherings at restaurants where people could sign up, but the idea was to like meet new people. So if you had a hard time, meeting people, you don't want to go to just some networking event, maybe you have a hard time talking, they would be small groups of people, like usually 10 or less, usually more like 6. And they would handle the reservations and all that, and people would just sign up and sort of fill up slots, and then you would go and meet new people, not specifically only queer, but because the founder is a queer person of color, he of course has a stake in that game, and so he partners with queer organizations when the opportunity arises and when it makes sense. So yeah, so we're going to be working with them February, again, 17th, right, Katie? Or are we still double checking that? I'm double checking that. Say that again?
Double check that.
I'm double checking the date on it, but it'll just give me an opportunity to mention it in a later date. And if you're not on our email list, you already got probably 2 emails that mention this. But if you're not on our email list, you should go to our website, aggiepridelgbtq.org. You get a pop-up to join, and then it will prompt you to join our email list if you want. Yep.
It is the 17th. I was right.
The 17th, Katie wins the prize. Higgins for the win.
Myself more, you know?
I don't know why I thought it was the 13th, and I was like, 13th, 17th. I confused myself. It was the 7th. It is the 17th, February 17th. We have the Eventbrite link in our email that went out just yesterday. It is also, you can go to our Facebook page and get it there. And I will, of course, make sure to push that out to our other social media channels as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess. Did the other organizations have anything else coming up that they wanted to talk about? If not, we can hand it over to James to talk for a few minutes about what's going on from the Aggie Pride fundraising perspective and sort of some opportunities down the road.
Oh, great. Thanks for the handoff, Brad, and howdy, everybody. And really like to thank you for your time and attention here today. Brad wanted me to speak, as you heard, for a couple of minutes here and talk about what we're doing at the Aggie Pride. You know, I think our name is, it's really kind of long there, and Katie sort of has it on her tile, but it's Aggie Pride LGBTQ and Allied Former Student Network of Texas A&M University. It's a mouthful.
Oh, James, your computer's cutting out. No. Well, maybe we're not talking about fundraising tonight.
Well, let's give that a few minutes. Maybe James probably doesn't even know he's frozen yet. So, James, when you figure it out, you're frozen. We can't hear you.
Cannot hear you.
Okay. Well,
I there's something I wouldn't mind saying.
Let's talk. Let's just have a convo, and then we'll circle back to James. And
Okay.
by the way, I don't want to, David and Heather, if you all have other pressing matters you need to get to, feel free. If you do need to drop off, that's of course fine. We totally understand.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah, like, and then James apparently lost his connection, so he'll be back on in a minute. But yeah, if you all need to drop off at some point, that's fine. I don't want to keep you. But we appreciate you sharing info. Please feel free, push any information out to us that you would like us to share on social media or push out via email to our members that makes sense. You know, you leave it up to you all to know. I don't know what is appropriate for our audience and not. Again, but we do try to reach a broad audience, even though former students is sort of derived as our focus by default.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, Heather. Bye, David.
Heather. Bye, David.
Katie Stewart, bring it home. Oh, I thought we had James for a second, but no. Okay, Katie Stewart. So talk to us, and then we're going to circle back. Hopefully, James will be back in a few minutes. You continue.
Sure. So one thing when I took over Pride Community Center that became my passion is that LGBT people need to be involved in the community they live in, and that includes our allies. So we take certain initiatives during the year to not only provide, like we're doing here, quality programming for the community, but to engage the rest of the community, whether it is participating in the Christmas parade or doing things like tomorrow with PPE and safe distancing. Tomorrow morning, I am participating in a point in time count for the Brazos Valley Coalition of the Homeless as a representative of Pride Community Center. And I bring that up not just to brag, because I like bragging about myself, of course, but to encourage people that when we put a face to who we are, even if we're not, wearing glitter and rainbow colors, but we're involved in whatever ways we can in the areas we're interested in our communities, we give representation to our community and we build the whole community up. And I think that is very important, especially in places like Bryan College Station, where, most people don't realize that their next door neighbor is gay and, is maybe married with 2 kids. And normalizing and sharing our real lives while being productive members of our community in whatever ways we can is so important.
I could not agree more, Katie. I think we need to be having these conversations within our community and with others. I was actually just having a conversation the other day with some of the staff at the Association of Former Students. So because we are now the 12th constituent network, we are talking about having our next, whether that is in October, November, or the following year, our next in-person reunion tailgate at the Alumni Center, and which is great. And they are 2000% behind it. And I said, that is wonderful. And we're going to, talk about that as the board's going to make a decision and whatnot. But I said, we also do need to be thoughtful about, you all have probably never directly had to think about how will we address any sort of potential, hopefully no issues of homophobia or transphobia or whatever that could potentially happen leading up to or on the day of the event itself. And I hope none of that will happen, right? But you have to sort of plan, get people to think about that, talk to them, talk to their vendors. And they honestly want us to, the Aggie Pride board, to come in and have conversations with their vendors about that, and sort of say, hey, here's things you may never have thought about and hopefully will never be an issue in the future, but you need to think about these perspectives because there have always been queer people in your audiences and that have eaten at your restaurants, have come to your events, etc. But it becomes also different too when you're now going to have 300 queer Aggies with a giant rainbow flag that's on their steps. And so you have to think about that. And again, not that there's hopefully going to be any issues. Of course, we hope there are not. But it's also interesting because it spurred some conversations that have led to maybe the association needs to have stricter requirements for vendors. Like, do they explicitly spell out like what are you need to hold, this is the expectation, and they do have, to be clear, they do have general statements of inclusivity, and it does include orientation and gender identity and all that, but still sometimes you have to very explicitly talk about those conversations and say we need to consider, we want to make sure everything not only goes smoothly, but people actually feel invited and welcome and respected and celebrated and all of those things. And it's not, those conversations are important to have. So, and those are harder to have, obviously, when you're doing that online. Not impossible, but harder, of course, right? And so I think it's a pro and a con. But I think I would say also, if people ever want to talk with anyone with Aggie Pride, or I think any of these organizations that we're on tonight, about any sort of topic like this, if you have any thoughts, if you have any ideas, concerns, I mean, we're not blind to the fact that we don't live in a perfect world. And there's a lot of room for improvement and growth. So please do not ever hesitate to message us, send us a direct message, comments on a video, whatever, send us an email, whatever is send, I got a great message the other day actually on Instagram, quick story, and then I'll send it back over to James. Got a message on Instagram to the Aggie Pride account, I should say. And it was specifically for a freshman that is starting in the fall. Also sent this information over to the center, by the way, and also directed them to the center. But the student was like, I'm out, but I'm newly out. I'm starting at A&M next fall. And I'm honestly worried of is there going to be a community of support for me? And I said, there are a lot of communities. Sometimes you have to find them. And that's, sometimes the key, and it's much more difficult right now during COVID. And I directed this person to, queer Aggies, and then also said that, if they are going through really tough times, for those who don't know, the counseling services on campus now does a queer support group, which they are doing a virtual version of that. So like current students can go and get, talk to counselors specifically about queer related issues as a support group of course, you can also always go one-on-one as a student and go talk to a counselor. But there are more resources out there than people realize, but there still can be apprehensions. It still can be obstacles to them. So it's a matter of making those as readily available as possible and talking about them as often as you can. So anyways, Higgins, did you have any thoughts? And then we can throw it over to James to hopefully James's sound and communication and whatnot is fine now, but it seems like he's been on for several minutes.
No, I don't think I have anything to add that you haven't already covered or that we haven't already covered so far in the video. James, if you wanted to go ahead and make your little announcement about fundraising stuff, go for it.
Yeah, let's try this second take. Apologize for that hiccup.
Happens.
My internet service was supposed to be upgraded a couple of nights ago, and who knew they would wait till I was speaking right now to upgrade my internet service. So I'm using my cell phone's hotspot.
There you go. Well, you've got the floor.
Doesn't it always seem to work that way? So, so some stats here for everybody, just to kind of share what we're doing here in our Aggie Pride group. We have about 800 subscribed members to our Aggie Pride organization, our network. And these members, they range from class of 1975 to 2020. And, looking at the locations of these individuals and our members, they are in 7 countries around the world, and half of the U.S. states are represented by our Aggie Pride member. Kind of goes back to what Brad was talking about just a little bit earlier on this conference here about how wide-ranging our organization can be. Be absolutely great if we get this to all 50 states. That'll take some time, but we're going to be here. We're going to be around. Our goal is to add a few hundred more members this year to the Aggie Pride. And I think being part of that constituent group is going to be very, very helpful for it. So, when we do fundraising here with the Aggie Pride, the goal is to support several programs and build programs. And those programs, they do many things. And I'm just going to rattle off a few of them here. It's to build emergency funds so we can help our LGBTQ plus Aggie students that are cut off by family or dealing with other financial hardships when they're there on campus. The funds can build up a scholarship that we want to do for Aggie leaders who are supporting the LGBTQ plus community. The funds go to the reunion and tailgate on campus as well. And didn't happen last year because of COVID, happened the year before, it was fantastic. But we also do additional fundraising specific to the reunion and tailgate just for those occasions. We do in-person and virtual Pride events that, COVID really kicked that off for the past year. And thanks to Katie and others, they've been very well attended. We do virtual discussion panels as well. So the program pays for like all the stuff, our ability to have a presence, a virtual presence, as well as in-person presence. We'd like to help out and co-sponsor LGBTQ career fairs. And we want to create multiple chapters of the Aggie Pride in multiple cities. And so it goes to funding those efforts and abilities to grow our membership and be represented in more than just the 25 states. We really want to build this out. And it especially goes to special causes. And, a good example last year supporting Algo, which is out of Austin, Texas. And we held a virtual fundraising event to promote Algo, which is a Texas statewide organization that aids queer people of color. So it really, really does a lot. And we want to encourage people to please join as a paid member to support Aggie Pride in our programs, to do all those things that I just laid out there. Because without your support, Aggie Pride just would not exist. We'll not be able to support Aggies both in Aggie land and around the world here. 100% of all donations made to Aggie Pride, they go to support these programs. They go to support LGBTQ plus Aggies. And we have, various ways of doing those donations. 80% of the money that we raise at Aggie Pride comes from recurring donations. And, it can be any amount that our members choose, from $10 a month to $100 a month or more. We have multiple levels of fundraising, and integrity is the $10 a month, loyalty for $25 a month, respect for $50 a month, and excellence for $100. And there's actually some giveaways that come with all of that too. So I encourage you to go to our website, learn more about what we do and what our programs are all about. See the pictures of all the people that it helps and the people behind the scenes that put this all together. So definitely check out our website, our Facebook page, and the website is probably out here somewhere. It's AggiePrideLGBTQ.org. So I encourage everyone to take a peek out there. Brad and Katie, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, James. One other thing too, I wanted to quick mention, one of the ways that we're trying to reach more Aggies and get more involved and be more readily available, especially in the future once the pandemic subsides some, is we've started what's called the Aggie Pride Ambassador Program. And so that's kind of going to be a precursor to starting like chapters that James mentioned, right? So our goal is to try to have at least, depending on the size of the area, I guess I should say, probably around 6 or so ambassadors in like a city or region before we sort of establish that as like a chapter per se. And of course, making sure that the ambassadors are willing to sort of get the ball rolling on that. And that will start gradually. It will not be an overnight thing, just to be clear for everyone. It'll probably be things like, again, post-pandemic in the future, hey, we're going to meet up for a happy hour at this bar as a group, or we're going to go to this coffee shop and maybe we'll have a book club, or what, things like that, that whoever the ambassadors are, our representatives are in those areas, can organize without taking too much time off their hands, because they're volunteers. We're an all volunteer organization, I should say. But also, just provide opportunities to get together in person. Maybe some online happy hour stuff too, but for cities like Houston, where it's like crazy spread out and not everyone is going to drive from, say the Woodlands to Montrose, every week or every other week for some sort of a get together. So will still be a need for virtual events, of course, but I will drop, sorry, Katie Stewart just distracted me with her comment. So as usual, she's asking for giant big glitter cannons to fire off when COVID ends and we can meet more in person, which I agree. I think there should
makes everyone feel
rainbow
good.
Pegasi as well. And yes, all of that. And leprechauns and everything that can be celebratory and fabulous, we should do. So anyways, my point being, Aggie Pride ambassadors, yes. So that's another way that you can get involved as well right now. Yes, as James said, we definitely do need funding, and those funds do help us to put on virtual events as well as in-person events. Especially like, things like when we do the in-person events at Houston Pride, when we do the in-person events on campus for like an LGBTQ reunion tailgate event. Those do cost some money. So, but then we also need funds to do things like pay for Zoom, which is not very exciting and not very sexy, I realized, but it is an essential cost. And things like maintaining our website and, email and all those kind of things. So, if you're able to donate, that's awesome. We would appreciate that. Again, you can go to Aggie Pride LGBTQ.org, Aggie Pride LGBTQ.org. I can almost talk. And then also you can go to bit.ly/ actually for multiple things for us. For donating, you can go bit.ly/ AP donate month if you are able to make some sort of a small or medium or large monthly donation. That's awesome. But then you can also go to bit.ly/Aggie Pride Ambassador, and that is our application to sign up to join our ambassador program. So we really need ambassadors. I don't know why. This is the weirdest thing, because a lot of our members are in Houston. For some reason, we only have like, I think it's now up to 3 of our, we have like 35 or 36 ambassadors now. So we're doing pretty well. It's awesome. And thank you if you're an ambassador and you're watching this or listening, or you're watching it later on in the future. This is a recording. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you for signing up. We know because of COVID, there's not been a lot of in-person activities right now. That's going to pick up in the future, but thank you so much for signing up to donate your time, rather. And you can donate your money, you can donate your time, you can donate both if you're able to. But Houston, for some reason, we really need ambassadors in Houston. We need a couple more. We probably need like 4 or 5 more in Houston. We probably need like 3 more in Austin. For some reason, Dallas-Fort Worth exploded on us this last year. We got several from Dallas-Fort Worth. We could use a couple more in San Antonio. We could use a few more in New York City area, the Washington, D.C. area, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle. I know there's queer Aggies out there. So I'm talking to you, queer Aggies in those cities. Volunteer if you can, please. I know it's not super exciting because there's not in-person stuff to do right now, but when there is, having you all available will be huge. And so we really would appreciate that if you can sign up. I know that was a very long ramble for me to say, please donate or please sign up to be an Aggie Pride ambassador. But we appreciate you. Heart. Shape, sort of. There you go, ish. There we go.
Oh, am I supposed to also do that?
No, I was just making a heart. Making a heart.
Okay. Well,
because I love everyone.
Don't we all? All right. Well, Brad, unless I'm missing anything, I think that's about it for programming as far as this evening goes. We are kind of at the end of things a little bit earlier than usual, but I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. If you can do one thing, you should be efficient.
I do have a request, if I may ask.
Of course.
Where's yours, Katie?
So I referenced our support group meetings that we have virtually, and I want to say, whether you come to ours or you go to another one, you don't need to be in crisis to go to one. We need bodies. We need people and their experiences. That's what makes those sort of support groups work. We share, as we all navigate life and we all hit hurdles, and some of us have hit those hurdles before and found our way through them. And having that sort of advice is invaluable, especially to our community. So wherever you are, in the Aggie Pride Network, whatever city you're in, please consider finding a support group and showing up every once in a while and just be there, just be present.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, and I'm of the same mindset, and I know that I'll try to join y'all's next support
And
group.
I would say sometimes doing those get-togethers can, not always, but sometimes can help us to maybe avoid as severe of a crisis in the future, right? Especially right now, we're all super stressed out with COVID. Obviously, the queer community is historically known to be, and I'm including myself in this, at more of a risk for, things like depression and suicide and whatnot. And so having that support network already in place that you're a part of, and people you can go to and you can talk to and you can get stuff off your chest, and also just know they're there to help and support you, that can be priceless. That's monumental, right? And so that can help save many of us to avoid getting to that point of being in a point of crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. I would 100% agree. And, having people that can notice when, you're not yourself, or, someone who can say, hey, you seem like something might be a little off. Do you want to talk about it? Sometimes we're not ready to out ourselves as struggling. And so I think when you're in any part of it, or even just if it's something and then you haven't showed up for a while, when you're part of a group, they can notice your absence, and having community to notice your absence is, in my opinion, one of the ways that we help keep ourselves and each other safe and sane and healthy.
Agreed, 200%. And I would say you all, if you all ever need anybody to talk to, I'm here for you personally. And that also is, I should say too, as I mentioned earlier, that person who is an incoming freshman sent a message to Aggie Pride. Seriously, we as an organization are here for you too. So if you don't have an individual you feel like you can talk to, we are not specifically mental health professionals, but we will connect you with resources. We will point you to where you can go, and we will just be someone who is us collectively as an organization will be here to listen. And, we always want to hear from you, positive, negative, times of crisis, times of joy, etc. We want to be a part of your lives, and really, we care. I mean, believe it or not, we do. So thank you again, Katie Stewart, for being here today, and James, thank you for making the time. We're going to wrap up 10 minutes early. That never happens, but virtual events, I guess we're getting the use of talking faster.
You gotta be flexible. You gotta be fluid. Time, like gender, sexuality is on a spectrum. So
you gained 10 minutes today, folks. Woohoo! Put that in the bank. Don't spend it all in one spot. But February 17th is the next Aggie Pride event. At the moment, that's officially marked on our calendars. Yep. There could be something that pops up between now and then, but unlikely. So I will make sure to post that in the comments below on all the various social media channels, specifically on our YouTube channel, where you should subscribe there, please, if you can. Help us get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. And then on our Facebook channel, of course, where this is also streaming live. I will post the registration link for that Eventbrite, so you can register for that free event where you can network with not only queer Aggies and allies, but also the queer Aggies from Stanford and from Yale too, which that's kind of cool. Something different. Thanks for being here. And Katie, I'll let you sign us off officially.
Go ahead, and I guess I take us off.